Opposition politician and National Democratic Working Group leader Job Sikhala is scheduled to hold a press conference in Johannesburg this afternoon, addressing what he describes as a deepening constitutional crisis in the country. Now, the briefing comes in response to the ruling Zanu-PF's push to amend the constitution and move that would allow President Emmerson Mnangagwa to extend his stay in power until 2030, and this is beyond his current term limits. The proposed changes, endorsed by Zanu-PF's parliamentary majority members last year, has sparked significant opposition from political activists, civil society groups across the country. Well, for a little bit more on this press conference and what's at stake, we're now joined by Zimbabwean opposition politician and human rights lawyer Job Sikhala. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Always good to talk to you, Mr. Sikhala.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this interview.
So you've described the current situation as a constitutional crisis. What specifically is happening in Zimbabwe that leads you to use a term like this?
It's because the Zanu-PF regime is intending to overthrow the People's National Constitution via forced amendments to it that will cause the prolongation of their stay in power for longer than what has been mandated by the people of Zimbabwe during the 2023 elections. They want to prolong their term of office to 2030, and this amounts to a huge national crisis. It's a constitutional crisis that is in motion to overthrow the people's constitution. So in specific terms, it is a crisis also on the basis that it is being forced upon the people of Zimbabwe. Any voice that tries to resist it is being squashed. They are using the throttling strategy, where the people of Zimbabwe are not allowed to speak against it. Rather, in short term, it is a coup in motion in Zimbabwe, where the regime is turning violent against the masses of our people, where unarmed civilians are under attack from the state security agencies, where anybody opposed to them is being persecuted, being beaten up, being tortured, being arbitrarily arrested, and being stopped from carrying out any activities opposed to this constitutional coup, which is currently taking place in our country.
You're a lawyer, so you understand the law. Surely the Constitution provides provisions that would prevent people doing coups like this. Is it that the courts won't uphold the Constitution? What might be standing in the way?
What is standing on the way is the regime that is stopping the people of Zimbabwe from expressing their views against the constitutional crisis that we are currently facing in our country. If their objective is for them to advance the interests of the citizens of our country, what they should have done is for them to allow the citizens of our country to engage in this very important national development that is happening in our country, for them to discuss, for them to freely express themselves, their views vis-a-vis the 2030 agenda, which the regime is trying to force down the throats of the citizens of our country.
So you're holding a press conference a little bit later on today. Tell us about that, and what is your message? Is this to the international community, given that it's taking place here in Johannesburg and not in Zimbabwe?
Yes, this is a message to the international community. I will be addressing both the people of Zimbabwe and also the international community, for them to understand the crisis on which we, the people of Zimbabwe, are under. We are under siege. We are under attack from a dictatorship. The people of Zimbabwe are now living under the threat of a regime that does not accept the citizens to freely express their views on the constitutional coup that is currently happening in our country. Such a situation cannot be allowed to continue. I'm a major political player in our country. I'm the leader of the National Democratic Working Group. The National Democratic Working Group is not a Mickey Mouse organization. It is rooted in all the four corners of Zimbabwe. It is one of the big organizations in our country that is resisting this coup which is happening in our country.
You talk about the throttling of the people of Zimbabwe. Your history is very well documented, the harassment you faced over time and the jailings. And then more recently, we're seeing former Finance Minister Tendai Biti being arrested at the border of Mozambique. Are these typically the type of things that we are seeing in terms of this throttling effect you're talking about?
This is exactly the choking strategy which the regime is applying in our country. No any other citizen is allowed to speak out against the 23rd agenda. They are trying to force it down the throats of the citizens of our country. Not only Tendai Biti, who was arbitrarily arrested in the eastern city of Mutare, but also you remember recently that Professor Lavuma Duku, they went at his party headquarters and beat him up, tortured the people who had been there, and you saw the bruises and his swollen body of a highly regarded constitutional law professor in our country. You also saw the number of all opposition political actors in our country being denied the right to hold a nearly press conference. And you saw the National Democratic Working Group, Matabeleland region leaders being pursued for trying to hold a press conference in Bulawayo. And then it should tell you the current situation in our country. Our people are under siege. For them to express their views on the 2030 constitutional amendment bill that has been brought to the public in our country. If they could have wanted to do it, they should have done it without trying to eliminate the people of Zimbabwe. They want to move on the bodies of our people towards their goal of achieving 2030. It's very true that the persecution has always been their business for a long time. Not only that, there are several assassination attempts that have been done to me during my stay here in South Africa. I'm not here in South Africa by choice, but by circumstances and also by convenience. It is, I have got a matter which all the world knows, that the agencies of the state came and planted explosives in the car of my uncle, which I was a passenger, for them to try to incriminate myself. But the security and intelligence reports that I obtained from, the agencies of the system themselves said that their intention was for them to eliminate me. They expected the explosives to blow me up within 200 meters of the drive from where the car was. So basically, they've also, despite quite a number of many agencies to come and assassinate me here in South Africa, they've been trying to reach out to me and try to lure me to a meeting with them and so forth. Unbeknown to them, that is the moment when they have been planning these errands, already some of their elements within the intelligence, the operative of Zimbabwe would have raised some of us and warned us beforehand that a team has been dispatched there to come and assassinate you and so forth. So basically, this is the way how the regime is currently operating. Everybody in Zimbabwe opposed to Emmerson Mnangagwa's 20th agenda is under threat. No one is safe in that country. So we have got a really constitutional crisis on our hands in our country.
Mr. Sikhala, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very, very much indeed for joining us. And hopefully we'll be able to follow your press conference a little bit later on and see how things unfold there. Thanks so much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much, Channel Africa.
That's a Zimbabwean human rights lawyer, opposition politician, and president of one of the opposition groupings, the National Democratic Working Group, Job Sikhala. It's 7:30, which means it's time for your news headlines with Onele Nsinsi.
SABC